All right, Mr. Sean, this is what we are working on for part three. So today what we're going to do is we're going to add all of this stuff onto the body of R2-D2. It looks a lot more complicated than it really is. It's not too bad, actually. We are, as you can see on my screen, we're actually not going to do this part and this part today. Or this lower section. We're just going to work on the main shapes. Okay, so this is going to be our goal. And we're going to finish this up because I forgot a couple little tiny things up here. So let's go back into our last one. So I'm going to go to home. I'm going to go in here. So this is where we should have left off at. So you should have a whole bunch of layers still. And you notice on this one, we have our little, I don't know what that is. Looks, I think that's his microphone maybe, or his speaker. I'm not sure, but we still have to add that in there. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, just like we did for all the other shapes, we're going to hit plus, empty, and we are going to go to our color selector. Let's go to our shape. We're going to go to circle, and we're going to pick our, if we look at this one, it's a light gray. So remember, whatever the bottom one is what our color is going to be. So we need to go make it a light gray. And I already have some down in here already, so I'm going to go darker than his head. So that's how light his head is, and I'm going to click on there. It's okay. So I'm going to make a circle. And if I hold down shift when I make a circle, it should be a perfect circle. Okay. And let's move it into place. So I'm going to click on my white arrow and drag it. I'm going to actually just kind of make it right in the center. All right, remember, I always want to make a new layer every time I'm adding a new shape. So I'm going to hit plus, empty. And this time, if we look, it's going to be a black fill with a whitish, like a light outline. So black for my fill. Okay. And then I'm gonna double click on my other color and get almost like a white. Okay. Make sure I click on my shape. And this time we actually want a stroke. So we're gonna go up to our stroke at the top, and I'm gonna just type in 10. I think that's kind of making a guess, but I think that should be pretty close. I'm gonna hold down shift to make a perfect circle again. That's pretty good. Okay, and because we made it on separate layers, I can still move it around. So that looks pretty good. And I think that's the last bit for this head section. All right. So what we're going to do, just like we did in our last one, we're going to hide. Let's see. We're going to make the body invisible and make the background invisible. So what we have left are all of just the pieces that go on the head. Okay, I'm going to go up to my top layer, click on my 3 circles, and I'm going to hit merge visible. So now I should only have 3 layers. Okay, so now we're going to start working on his body. Actually, let's see, let's do this. Let's make our life potentially a little easier. We're going to, so we just named it head parts. All right, so then we're going to name, so we're going to close that. Let's name this one body, B-O-D-Y. And it's important to label this stuff because it'll make our life easier later. My computer's being a little goofy this morning. Okay, so what we're going to do next is that we're going to add these parts here. All right, so the next step is that we need to make a new layer. Remember, anytime we make a new layer, we want to, or whenever we make a new shape, we need to make a new layer. So we're going to hit empty. Let's start with this rectangle. So we're going to go to our shapes. Okay, we want to make sure it's set up properly. So stroke at 0. And we already have our blue and our fill, and we're going to make a rectangle. So if I look at this, it kind of lines up under this piece and it goes to the end of that circle microphone looking thing. So we're going to go right around here. Okay. New layer, because we're going to start on this piece here. Empty. So we're going to make another one, pretty similar to the last one, except a little bit skinnier. All right, so we're going to start making these shapes. So new shape, new layer. So hit plus, empty. This time we're actually going to switch to a triangle, and we're going to make kind of a small, long triangle. But you notice it goes the wrong direction, but that's okay because we're going to rotate it. So start with, I think that's pretty good. So I'm going to click on my white arrow, and I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to bring it up into here, and I'm going to kind of center it, but I also don't want it to point out the end. So that's pretty good. So the next piece is we're going to make this one. So this is basically going to be another little triangle. We want it to be kind of as wide as that one. So we're going to hit new layer, empty, triangle. It should be all set already. So we're going to make a smaller one. Hit the arrow, white arrow, click on the white arrow up top, rotate it. And then I'm going to make a fit right there. That looks pretty good. And then I'm going to make another long new layer, empty. I'm going to make kind of a long triangle, shape, triangle, everything's all set up. So I think that's good. Click on the white arrow, rotate, bring it up into the spot. Same kind of thing. We want to kind of center it, but we also we want to make sure it doesn't poke out the end. Okay, new layer, empty. And then this time we're going to make a rectangle instead. Right, so let's go up top, shape, rectangle. And I'm going to go to the very corner of this triangle. I'm going to click down and drag it over to a spot where I'm kind of happy with it. So I think that's good. Okay, so what we want to do is that so we're pretty happy with this. If we look at it, this shape is basically the same as this shape, except this one's flipped over. So what we want to do is instead of doing it all over again, we're just going to make a copy of it. So we need to merge all of these layers together. So we're going to hide the ones we don't want merged by clicking on the arrow or the checkbox next to it. So we only want to see these ones. So we're going to click on the 3 dots, merge visible. And there we go. So that is that shape. So we can click here, click on the box, and all the stuff should come back. We need to, right now this is locked for some reason, but so we're going to duplicate the layer, and we're going to go to this layer, click on the white arrow, and we're going to rotate right. So I just clicked on it twice and it rotated it. Now I can drag that up to line it up to where I want it. We should be good to go. So now we have those 3 shapes. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start making these kind of outlined shapes. All right, so we're going to make, and I think because they're just singular shapes, I think we're just going to do them all on one layer. So we're going to hit plus, empty. And now what we're going to do, we're going to go to our shape. We're going to click on rounded rectangle. And if we look at them, it's kind of a gray color similar to that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to but you notice they're not filled in. So we're going to go to our fill, we're going to click on that and turn it off. We're going to turn our stroke to 5. And so remember, this is our fill and this is our outline, our stroke. Remember I said we can just go to the top, or if we go out of our color button, our color picker, we can click on things in our folder or in our image to get that exact color. So I can click on this and now we have that exact color. Hit OK. So now I'm just going to start looking at this and start making these shapes. So let's see. So we're going to go here, click. This one goes pretty long, but you notice it doesn't go all the way down. So we're going to stop about there. We're making another one about the same size on the other side. Okay, now let's make this one. And that kind of stops at the same. And then we have a long one. Remember, we gotta save this open spot for that blue one. So we want to not make one in the center. Click, drag, leaving that center spot open for the blue. Click, drag. All right, so we left that spot open for these. Now we need to make 1, 2, 3, 4 that go across. So we're going to go here to the center. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and then at the bottom, there are 1, 2, 3. And we're actually going to make another one here because we're not going to do that little part. We're just going to leave that. So we can make, let's make 3, but we'll make them a little bit different than theirs. So we can make a square 1, make a narrow 1, 2, 3. All right. So remember we did all of those on the same layer. So now we're actually going to make a new layer because we're going to make these shapes here. I'm going to hit plus for empty. And this time we're going to start making these shapes here. So I'm going to hit, let's see, how do we want to do this? Let's do turn our fill back on, bring our stroke down to 0, and we're gonna use this time. We're gonna actually just use a rectangle, and our rectangle should be, because there's a fill, it should be this blue, right? And there's not gonna be a stroke, so we're gonna do these shapes here. So I'm gonna make just a long, like a little rectangle. And I'm actually just going to go here and we can count. We can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to click on here and go duplicate 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so I duplicated it 5 times. And then, so what we can do is now we can drag those down. So I'm going to go to the bottom. All right, so I think that is actually going to be a good stopping point for this part, and then for the next one we'll jump in and start doing these. So good luck. Let me know if you have any questions or if you get stuck, and we'll go from there. Thanks, Sean.